In today's show, let's pretend the season opener never happened. We talk about the dangers of comparisons and preview the home opener against the Orlando Magic. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you every single weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's episode, got a fun one for you on a Friday. Blazers play their home opener this evening, Friday, October 27th. And I want to talk about that game to close the show a little bit. But first, I want to preview the season as if game one never happened. Blazers got walloped in their opening game, and I want to give you, just open the show, the Agnostic season preview. I neither believe that there's proof or existence of game one, so let's talk about the rest of them as if that one didn't exist, because no need to look back. Let's start looking forward. Maybe hide our heads in the sand a little bit like ostriches, but have a little bit of fun in doing so. I want to talk the dangers of comparisons in the second segment as well, and then we will look ahead to the game against the Magic, home opener. Blazers play at the Moda Center, and your first chance to see them in person if you are in Portland. I guess if you're fans in LA, which some of you emailed me, said you were in the gym, you already got your chance to see them in person. It's my chance to see them up close, so I'm excited for the home opener. Let's talk Agnostic preview. Here's what I mean by that. This early in the season, the things that I think I often do well on this podcast aren't as useful. I'm good at recognizing trends. I'm good at finding, hey, this is a thing the Blazers have tried a couple different times. Here's a lineup that's working and all those things. I'm good at finding the little numbers. I'm good at finding little sort of action and basketball trends. There are no trends this early in the season, and the numbers are meaningless. 5-6 games in, it'll be too small of a sample size, but at least we'll have, hundreds of minutes to play with by then, where you can say like, okay, well, we have seen these things. So instead of saying, okay, well, the Blazers half-court offense scored 0.78 points per possession against the Clippers, I'm going to talk about the upcoming games as if game one never happened. This is why I'm calling it the Agnostic preview. I neither believe in the existence nor can confirm that game one existed, but I've heard people that do believe the first game happened, and I will allow them to believe it. This time of year, as we launch into this preview, I think this time of year, early in the season, defenses are ahead of offenses. That's a normal thing, normal trope you'll hear from NBA folks. And I think that's true to some extent. What it usually means is people are missing shots this time of year. People are shooting bricks. They haven't found their rhythm. There is some truth that plenty of teams drill defense way harder than offense in training camp, so the defense just starts ahead of the offense. There is some continuity stuff that you can get away with, defensively, just on, hey, we're bigger than them, we play really hard, which on offense maybe you don't have it clicking. But typically, this time of year, defenses are ahead of offenses. The execution just isn't there yet. You haven't figured out all the tendencies. You haven't figured out, hey, in this action, we run it this way, but he likes it in his left hand. So I want to pass that ball so he can catch it and get to his left quickly. How your teammates like to come off screens, how they don't like to come off, how they reject screens, all those things, right? The execution and the familiarity you will build. So typically this time of year, offenses are going to be a little bit worse. Defenses are going to look a little bit better. And I think one of the keys for the Blazers heading into this season, and when they first play when they finally play a game, will be to play fast and with tempo. I've heard they didn't run very much in the opening game. I've heard that. I've heard whispers of that from folks who believe. Me, a non-believer, I don't know what happened in that game. But play fast and with tempo means two things to me here. One, run when you can. 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 Run off steals. Run off long rebounds. If you can push quickly off of makes, run when you can. But then playing with tempo means when you get into the half court, don't get bogged down. Don't wait to execute. Get into stuff quickly. If you only run one action, run it with pace. Play fast to get into your stuff, and then play with tempo in the half court. My man Lamar Hurd was talking about this on the broadcast. They want to get up and down, and then they want to play quickly side to side. Play fast and with tempo. That's gonna matter. And on a sort of a bigger picture thing, like what I'll be watching when the Blazers finally play a basketball game, is how do the combinations play well together? Portland has a lot of guards that are in the rotation. They're not like super guard heavy, but all of their guards need to play real minutes, right? Scoot needs to play, and Ant needs to play, and Malcolm Brogdon clearly needs to play, and Shaedon Sharpe needs to play. It is something that will be part of their challenge each and every night. Is the 4 guards playing 96 minutes. Shaedon Sharpe's going to play a bunch of minutes at small forward, or they'll play 3 guard looks if you don't think he's ever playing small forward. But one of the things I want to watch as they move forward, as we get into this season, right? Like I'm joking, like I didn't the whole like game 1, didn't watch game 1 or don't believe in game 1 shtick. Like I'll drop it here. Like one of the things in the early parts of the season is figuring out how the combos work. One of the things that Chauncey Billups tried to do was change up the initiator. So he gave Scoot some early reps. When that didn't work, he gave Ant some reps. In the second half, when Scoot still kind of wasn't in it, and Malcolm Brogdon clearly just hadn't had enough action, Malcolm Brogdon started to become the initiator. So not only am I curious to watch the combos, okay, when Malcolm plays with Scoot, what does it look like? When Ant plays with Scoot, what it looks like? When Scoot plays with Shea, what's it look like? And all the permutations in there. But not only who initiates and what do they do, but what does the other guy do? What does Scoot do in his off-ball reps? What does Ant do in his off-ball reps? Where does Malcolm go stand in his off-ball reps? He was pinching down to the corner and got one really clean look. Blazers generated 10 corner threes in that game. It's like, make them. Those are good looks. It's how the combos work together is going to be a big thing that matters, because this year, in the early season particularly, is about figuring out which combos work. The Blazers need to play Scoot Henderson 30-some minutes a night. They would need to probably try to play Shaedon Sharpe 30-some minutes a night, right? You're not going to zap Anthony Simons minutes, and Malcolm Brogdon's probably too good to, play 12 or whatever. All these dudes have to play. So the combos of which 3-guard lineup looks the best, which 3-guard lineup can get away with defense, get away defending a little bit better, or if you can't, which bench lineups can you go to 3 guards against and say, okay, we can fudge it for 4 minutes here and then get off it when they put their big wing starters back in the game. The combos matter. The mix and matching matters because, to some extent, who starts the game dictates what the combos are going to look like, because guys got to come out and come back in. But when you get towards the middle of both halves, the sort of the quarter split, that first to second and third to fourth, you can kind of make decisions on who's going to stay a little bit longer or who's going to come back a little bit earlier. And when you figure out what those combos, valuable combos, look like, you can go from there. The key to me is that because this time of year, offense typically takes a little longer to gel. The Blazers finding a pace and a tempo that fits for them and combos that fit for them is how they can catch up with the weak execution that they are likely to have as they learn each other and a brand new freaking team playing 2 youngsters, playing 2 guys under 21. Figured out. But if you play to your identity fast and with good tempo in the half court, you can mask some of the execution problems. Eventually, execution will matter. 2 weeks from now, it'll matter a lot. But for now, that's where you go. Defense typically had offense. Defense didn't look good in game 1. We'll worry about that We'll worry about that for another day. If you figure out what offensive combos work and how you can score in the half court and how you can generate easier shots that aren't in the half court, then you can start to say, okay, these are the lineups that are our best on offense. How do we defend with this group? I think the Blazers got to check that first execution box. What are lineups for us that can score at with any success level, and then figure out, okay, how do we defend with this group? Who has to be on the court for this to be functional? That's your agnostic preview of the remaining 81 games, because I admit the first game did indeed happen. Okay, in the second segment, I want to talk about comparison and the dangers of stealing your own joy. And yeah, I want to talk about Damian Lillard wearing green. Let's talk about that in the second segment a little bit. But first, let me tell you about Dave. Look, at one time or another, we're all going to need a little financial help. That's why Dave is great. Dave can get you cash when you need a hand between paychecks, can help you build credit by settling extra cash advances on time. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. Extra cash gives you more money to buy groceries, fill your tank, get your car repaired, catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to make their finances easier. So if you're in a pinch, get the help you need by downloading Dave. Download Dave today at dave.com/LockedOnNBA. That's dave.com/LockedOnNBA. You get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now. Go to dave.com/LockedOnNBA for terms and conditions. Go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility, criteria, instant transfer fees all apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. Today's show is also brought to you by Jase Medical. Jase Medical believes that nobody should have to worry about their loved ones or themselves in case of emergency. Don't get caught unprepared. Instead, you find out more about the Jase case provided by Jase Medical, which offers 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jase case is to fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of their board-certified physicians, and from there, they take care of everything from the online evaluation to get you started to the licensed pharmacy medication delivery so you get what you need, plus the ongoing and consultation and care so you know what you're doing. Don't get caught unprepared. Instead, go to jase.com and enter the code LOCKEDON at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON at Jase, Jase Medical.com. All right. I mentioned that I want to talk about Damian Lillard wearing green. They made his debut with the Bucks, and to be totally clear, he played on Thursday evening, and he was 39 points and 8 boards and hit a huge shot with over a minute left to put them up 5, kind of ice the game against the Sixers. And to be honest, I didn't know if heading into this season I would mention Dame's play, period. Not because I want to hide from it or something like that, but because if you really have followed this team closely, this team being the Trailblazers closely, and you have this, you develop an emotional connection with the team you love, watching Dame play in another jersey is somewhere between weird and agonizing. If you can enjoy it, it's like, wow, this is a little weird, huh? And if you can't, it can be, I totally get it, agonizing to watch someone, someone who's brought you the most joy of any basketball player over the last decade do what he does, ply his trade for another team, right? Stinks. Or it can stink. Maybe you enjoy it. But for those of you that feel like it stinks, I wanted to just make this show Locked On Blazers, right? It isn't about Locked On former Blazers. We don't, Wesley Matthews did miss the Hawks' first game of the season, and they lost to the Hornets. We were going to talk about that too. It's it is, I think if you're a listener to this program, and I appreciate you so much if you are, that one of the things that I want to do on the show is make it more fun to be a Trailblazers fan. I don't want to shy away from tough conversations or the truth or things like that. But like my goal here, a game into the season is not to be like, hey, Dame's still good. Doesn't that suck? And it made me so like I'm not. That's kind of it for my Dame take. He's still very good at basketball. It was weird to see him wear a different uniform. It was odd, but he looks like himself, hitting step back threes, moving to his left to ice games late. Like dude still got it. Nothing has changed over the last 4 months since we last saw him play basketball. It's been longer than 4 months. They stopped playing in May, in April. But I want to offer this, and I have some expanded thoughts on this idea. It's why I was thinking heading into this season that I probably wouldn't mention Damian Lillard, and I probably won't after this. Go listen to Locked On Bucks. They got a new host, Camille. She's going to be great. It's Kane's final week. Go listen to the show. If that's what you're into, that's the value of the Locked On Podcast Network. We've got hosts in every city. I think one of the reasons that I didn't want to talk about Dame, and I won't talk about Dame really on this show, is because comparison is the thief of joy. Looking over to the middle of the country and saying, look what they've got. We used to have that. I'm so jealous of what they have. Or worse yet, Scoot Henderson's not that. That sucks. That is no way to enjoy this team. The Trailblazers might struggle a lot this year. They're going to lose 55 games probably. If you spend this season not looking for ways to enjoy and appreciate this team, you'll get caught up quick. No doubt about it. So I want to offer a thought on comparison. I was watching the Blazers' first game, even though I may have pretended like I didn't earlier in the show. And Tom Haberstroh, the Blazers' stats person, I don't know what they call him. They probably call him analytics insider. A member of the broadcast who talks about numbers. He's good. I like Tom. I've enjoyed his presence on the broadcast. I've liked him as an ESPNer and at Meadowlark prior to that as well. Haberstroh is really good. He had a stat that quite frankly, I was mad that he shared it because it would have been good for this show. And it was about how other young point guards, when they were teenagers, top 3 picks, point guards in the NBA who'd gone on to be all-stars earlier in their career and in some cases rookie of the year, like Kyrie Irving, their struggles in their first games, right? Oh, LaMelo Ball struggled. LaMelo Ball played 16 minutes in his first, or 17 minutes in his first games. Not that Scoot played 35. Kyrie Irving struggled. It isn't uncommon for Luka Doncic struggled. These guys struggled. It was a good, helpful, sort of grounding, contextualized stat. But it's also the thief of joy. Comparing Scoot to Kyrie Irving, comparing Scoot to LaMelo Ball, because LaMelo Ball is proof of concept that Scoot can be a all-star in year 2, it misses the fun. I liked the stats that Haberstroh shared, but heck, I would have shared them on here. It's the type of thing I do regularly. But I'm cautioning myself and I'm cautioning you. The way to appreciate this team is to appreciate them in the moment. Scoot Henderson, 19, struggled, found his footing late against guys who are at the end of the bench. If he can build on that and end up being a guy who's like 15, 5-5 for the season, he's going to have one heck of a rookie year. You do not need to be one of our great mathematicians, I guess. Arithmetic's not a word. I'm a history major. I don't know words. You do not need to be one of our great mathematicians to realize that one game out of 82 is not particularly meaningful, and particularly the first game out of 82 is not particularly meaningful. The comparisons help set the stage. They help set our sights. But Scoot versus whatever is not the way you're going to find your most joy. For me, it's not the way I'm going to find my most joy. Scoot has done 2 interviews recently. One where someone asked him, or at media day, they asked him about filling the shoes of Damian Lillard. And he said, I don't want to be Damian Lillard. I want to be Scoot Henderson. It's absolutely is the right mindset. And then prior to the game on opening night, Brooke Olsendam on the Blazers broadcast was sort of almost begging Scoot to say that he was a little bit nervous to head into game 1 or had or was even excited to match up with Russell Westbrook, right? Like even he had that it was like a surreal thing to guard Westbrook, and Scoot was steadfast, not nervous, not a surreal moment. He always pictured himself doing this. He's ready to go do it. And then he looked a little bit nervous, right? He looked like someone who played with a little bit of jitters. Scoot's mindset is the mindset we should adopt as the Blazers viewing public. I'm Scoot Henderson, and I'm not afraid, and I'm not here to compare myself. The way to enjoy this season is to enjoy the growth. The growth's going to come with speed bumps. It's going to come with some turbulence, a great deal of turbulence probably. But the way you'll appreciate is not saying, well, Dame had 22-11 and they beat Steve Nash in his debut. That is not the way to enjoy it. It's not the way to appreciate it. The way you'll appreciate it best is to say, Scoot Henderson got a little bit better. Shaedon Sharpe looked pretty good in game 1. He's got a good hustle instinct when the ball's on the rim. He finds it and can go get it. When a dunk highlight is waiting for him, my man springs into action. Don't let comparison, be it positive or negative, steal your joy. Do not let it be the thief of joy. Appreciate these dudes for what they are. Speaking of what they are, I got to play a basketball game on Friday evening. Tonight, they play a basketball game. Let's talk about that one. They play the Magic. I think it's going to be a good test for them. And let's talk about the keys to that one, how they can win, what the Magic do that's going to be tough for the Blazers, and how they can overcome it. Join me in that third segment, won't you? First, let's talk Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy. I play Prize Picks on the app, but you can also go to prizepicks.com if you want to play. How it works is you pick between 2 and 6 players on every entry, and you just pick above or below the line set by Prize Picks. So it's stat lines. I play the NBA because that's what I'm most comfortable with. So it's things like points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. But you can play the NFL all season long. You can even mix and match, and you can pick, the points for Anthony Simons, the touchdowns for Travis Kelce, and go ahead and get yourself some money when you win. Safe and fast withdrawals, super, super quick on Prize Picks. So right now, if you are a first-time user, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Put in $100, give you $100. Put in $50, they're going to give you $50. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use that code LockedOnNBA when you do it. That's one more time, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Big game against the Magic, home opener. Once upon a time, the Blazers always won home openers. From 2001 to 2018, the Blazers won 18 consecutive home openers. An outrageous streak, really. An outrageous streak. That was during the dark years, too. The Blazers went to 21 straight to the playoffs 21 straight years. That ended in 2003, and then that sort of in the between times before Brandon Roy arrived. Those couple years they were still winning home openers, baby. There was a time when you could lock it in, 18 in a row. They've now won 1 in a row because they won last year. They beat the Suns in overtime. So new streak. 17 more? 17 more are coming. Here we go. They play the Orlando Magic. The Magic are 1-0. They walloped, smashed upon the Houston Rockets in Orlando on Wednesday evening. Beat them by 30. Didn't play anyone for the final 5 minutes. Yikes. The Magic are your favorite hipster NBA fans' favorite team. League Pass darlings. Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. Everybody loves Wendell Carter Jr. Not enough people love my man Cole Anthony. But they're big, and they gave the Blazers problems last year. They beat them in Portland last year as well. It is not the same team. It's not a direct comparison, but they're big. The keys to this one: don't get crushed on the glass. That's going to be a key for the Blazers all year long, and something they honestly might struggle with. Like, Jeremy Grant is not going to morph into someone who is a good rebounder over the next 6 months. It's just not going to happen. They're going to struggle at that spot to rebound. They're going to have to gang rebound. The guards are going to have to crack back and rebound. They're going to have to get really good box out nights from the bigs. Like the way to win is to win the glass for the Blazers is if DeAndre Ayton and Rob Williams, when they're in there, if they don't go for rebounds, they got to go for bodies. They got to keep guys off the glass, and then the Blazers guards and wings, Thibault and Scoot and Ant, have to come back and rebound. They have to rebound as a team. Portland struggled against the Clippers, got crushed on the glass, and the Magic absolutely dominated the offensive glass in their opening night, and finishing possessions is the first huge key against Orlando. Finishing possessions. The Magic in their first game grabbed 45.7% of the available rebounds, 46% of the available offensive rebounds in their case. So that means when the Magic missed a shot, they basically had a coin flip chance to grab their own board. They grabbed 46% of their own misses. Dominated the glass. They're not a team that shoots threes. They're not a team that makes threes. They're low frequency and have been, they've added some 3-point shooting with Joe Ingles, but they're not a bombs away type team. Like they don't have a ton of shooters. They do have a ton of size. They're big even off the bench with Jonathan Isaac now that he's healthy, and Mo Wagner and Ingles. Like, they play a big front line after the Wagner and Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr. big front line leaves the game. They stay with a big front line. Like, they just, and even Suggs and Markelle Fultz are pretty big guards, relatively big guards. So like they're big, but they're going to hurt you on the glass. So the way to win is to beat them from the line, to shoot more threes. The Blazers took too many mid-range jumpers in their first game. Took 34 mid-range jumpers and just 18 rim attempts. You can't take twice as many middies as layups in the modern NBA. You can, but you need to have Devin Booker, Brad Beal, and Kevin Durant. Like, it's just too hard of a shot diet to have to make 15-foot jumpers. It's challenging. The Blazers got to get to the rim. They don't really, Scoot will get there, and that will change their profile as a team that can get to the rim. But he didn't in game one with much effectiveness. But that's cut out some of those mid-range jumpers and trade them in for more threes, because the volume, you might be able to beat the Magic with volume of threes, even if you can't beat them with accuracy. Again, they're a low volume, low accuracy team. The Blazers can beat them with volume. Portland generated okay looks from three. Jeremy Grant can shoot better. Shaedon Sharpe can shoot better. They don't, Matisse Thybulle can make threes. They don't have a ton of shooting, and they're not going to play lineups that are have a ton of shooting. They need their guys who can make shots to hit them. They can't. It's like simple math, right? The Blazers, because they're sort of light on shooting, they're just not going to survive a lot of nights where Jeremy Grant goes 0 from the 3-point line. They're not going to survive a lot of nights where Shaedon Sharpe goes 1 of 6, right? They're going to need to, because they have limited number of shooters, gotta make them. Clean up, finish possessions, don't give up offensive rebounds, win the 3-point battle, win the volume, and you'll win the makes. And the third key to this one is you gotta go. You gotta play fast. The Blazers' half-court offense was a mess in the first game, and the Magic's half-court defense absolutely locked Houston the heck up. You can't really just run whenever you want to in the NBA, right? Like, you can't just say, okay, half of our possessions are going to be in transition, right? Because if the other team scores, that's not a transition bucket. If you're giving up offensive rebounds, it's hard to run, right? Like, and teams that crash the glass prevent you from running because you have to box out. The Magic are going to present a problem because they're going to go after the boards, and they're athletic and big. But the Blazers getting into stuff early to avoid half-court offense is twofold. One, get to the rim easier in transition. Seth Partnow, who works for The Athletic now, was formerly the director of research for the Milwaukee Bucks. He basically says every second of the shot clock that ticks off is significantly harder to score for every team in the league. Basically every team in the league. You know, some teams get away with it, but pretty much across the board, that's about the simple math. Every second it gets harder. Go quickly. Attack the rim. The Blazers were, low rim attempts in that first game. If you push in transition, you get rim attempts. You can also get transition threes. You can cut out some of the mid-range stuff by pushing, because you push, they have to help. You can kick out from there. You can create mismatches if you push early because they have to guard. You have to pick up and you're not matched up. You can get easier looks if you get Scoot on the right guy. You get Anthony Simons on the right guy. You have to, you're not going to be able to just magically run, but when you have opportunities, absolutely seize them. Play with pace, grab the defensive rebounds, win the three-point battle. Take more threes so you will make more threes than the Magic. Those are your keys to the game. Should be a fun one. Blazers play Friday and they play again Sunday. So the next time I talk to you, they will have played 2 basketball games, kicking off a 3-game road trip on Sunday evening. So looks like we got a little back-to-back here with a back-to-back Toronto on Monday night. So guess what? That's what we do. 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts. It's also on YouTube. Tell your friends about the show. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.